The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neodiplomacy is the new currency. Neodiplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, Yasharel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you. Some may not be as welcoming on this platform. but I welcome you. I was running late. I'll try to get on early because I have to wrap it up by 7:15 on Tuesdays. That's what happens when I'm during my work week as a teacher. My first steps as teaching was actually through this channel, teaching what the Most High was giving me to instruct. And it was just about every day. It was Monday through Friday. And then as I continued to move, the Most High continued to have me move along his path. Yeah, I'm gonna cover that, Woke Yosef, because that literally just came across my screen. I'll share what Woke Yosef is talking about. Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader who sought the presidency, dies at 84. An impassioned orator, he was a moral and political force who formed a rainbow coalition of poor and working class people. His mission, he said, was to transform the mind of America. Okay. I honestly, I don't know what to think about that. You're right, brother ASAP. And honestly, to me, that's just me personally speaking. Me, I'll catch flack. I don't care. That's fine. Whenever you have a system of control, you have to have people who are willing to support that system of control no matter what. There have been some interviews in which Jesse Jackson was, as he was getting, yep, later in life. That's right, T Bird. He was another sellout ninja. That's how the system goes, unfortunately. Well, I'll kill Dr. Martin Luther the King, or at least point, at least show, at least be the cue, the signal guy. I didn't kill the person. When people get their breadcrumbs, their money, their mammon, and now I think about this and I say, thank you, Father, hallelujah, for this message, because this is a timely, well informed message. I didn't really know what to cover today. Yesterday, I mean, 6 hours is 6 hours. That takes a lot. But here, as the Most High's telling me, Unraveling of Control. I'm sorry, but you're now seeing an age group, a demographic that you have seen that in the most, I'm going to probably say this, for the civil rights movement and things of that nature, as Dr. Martin Luther the King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther the King, had stated before he was assassinated that he was afraid that we had been integrated into a burning building. I honestly look at it like this, especially when you see the demographics, the numbers, that ever since the 1960s, our economic, financial, social, spiritual, all those control mechanisms that we had a semblance of sovereignty and authority over, they all collapsed. They all collapsed. And if you don't see it, look at what happened and what's happening today. Our people are totally destroyed. It's collapsed. They would ask, well, society's collapsing. Well, their society is now collapsing. Their society is now in the process of collapsing. We're just trying to survive amongst the ashes. Because we had the sellouts that created the loss of economic empowerment. That's what happened. But it was a very, very sophisticated and covert plan that made everything look as though we were being empowered. At the same time, we were being dismantled and devoured. Literally. This isn't a eulogy of respect and remembrance. Look at what he did. Look at this. The poor people, the blah, 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 blah. No. I'm sorry. No. No. Because the reality of this is that's the image of captivity. If you want to be truthful, that is the image of captivity. How did we get into captivity? Oh, you know, it was them Hamites and all those awful Hamites and those Ham. Unfortunately, what they don't like to tell you is this would be that Hamite that the multi-generational disconnect happened through. Not understanding and not even knowing how our captivity has been allowed to continue over these last 5, 6, 700 years in some cases. And some can argue before that It's just that our 400 years in our final mode of captivity, I'm going to say final mode of captivity, it took a little bit to get here. Because even in 1619, what they don't tell you about those 20 and some odd Negroes, what they don't tell you is those 20 and some odd Negroes, well, guess what? They modeled it that, oh, they made it off. And guess what? You come on over, you may have an arduous journey, but you can look this on up in the Virginia Commonwealth, 1641. We're going to have to revamp that plan. Oh, why is that? Because Esau's a liar. The plan was to always have us in derision and in confusion. The plan was to always have us in fear, to chase after false promises, to look at folks that literally had no intentions but to continue to sell people out. And unfortunately, the generations before us, they moved along that schedule effortlessly until 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 the Most High woke us up. See, the reality is that you're going to now start to see a slow and steady deletion of the enemies of Yah. Starting with this generation. And that was the generation that we all had witnessed via the Cosby Show. That was a generation that we all had witnessed via A Different World and all of these different shows that weren't even our shows. They were co-opted of black folks playing the part to ensure that white supremacy thrived. You know, in that my thumbnail, The Unraveling of Control. You know, obviously that's AI generated, but AI did a good job. AI did a good job. I had to be very descriptive with it. I said, no, I can't just have a regular face while things are exploding. I need to make sure I have my eyes bucking, mouth wide open. I said I have to be semi-menstrual. We's in troubles. The system's is collapsing, boss. We sick, boss. Whenever you're allowed to move up in the system and you're allowed to make it to a state of prominence or national prominence or international prominence on behalf of this fallen, and that's what I'm going to say, on behalf of this fallen country. See, fallen actually really represents and is indicative of this. You're going to morally decline before you see a physical decline. This country has morally declined. And now the physical decline is going to happen. And, the reality is it's going to happen rapidly. The Most High allowed different things to take place within his timing. Yesterday evening, I was on the phone with one of our dear members of the community. And we were discussing some things. There is some business that we were doing for the community, and I wanted to make sure that everything was shaping on out because we do things in the background. But then we had a discussion, and what should have taken about 15, 20 minutes, it took about an hour and a half. You know how we do as we fellowship. And as I was on the phone, I was talking to our brother, Pastor Rick Fletcher. I know he's in the chat. And I had to ask our brother. He's in Southern California. I had to ask him, so how is it? Because it never rains in Southern California. Because it may be cold on the East Coast. Well, they're getting rain. Oh. But as we had discussed some things, we were talking about how quickly things are approaching. That and this isn't to be a fear factor. I'm sorry. There is no more fear factor. There is no more, oh, it's that bad. Nah. There's no more of that. You want to know why? Because they done told you. They are eating everything. You think that it's just the Haitians supposedly eating the dogs and the cats? Nah, that's what Trump and them are trying to tell y'all when they're literally, purportedly, still being redacted, still being covered up, eating people. I honestly want to talk to a Klansman and kind of find out. So, Jeb, I guess you still don't like Negroes, huh? Well, let me tell you something important here, Jeb. I don't know of not one nary Negro that's eating y'all. But I do know of some white folks that do occasionally partake in that other white meat. You know what I'm saying, Jeb? Well, we're going to have to reevaluate our stance on Negroes because you're right. We may not like y'all, but you don't eat us. No, Jeb, we don't eat you. But I imagine if we did eat you, we'd have to have a lot of paprika, a little bit of thyme, and Whole lot of bay leaves, I would imagine. Oh, we did not come out with a delectable Caucasian cookbook, the DCC. It's on Amazon.com. Explore your culinary delights with Brother Karras says the food preparation, making sure it's in the freezer, how you no. Can't blame us. Sorry, that's Jeremiah 50 and 20. You're gonna try and find the sins of Judah will be sought after. They can't find it. I'm about to start blasting on my radio going to work. Mr. Cow. Oh, it ain't my fault. I wasn't on that Epstein Island. He there? She there? We could have get Putin. Nah, where? Maybe little Zuckerberg and Bill Gates too. Talk to our Bezos. You know what you do. Oh, it ain't my fault. I didn't eat that. It ain't my fault. I didn't do that. It ain't my fault. Uh-oh. That's right. That's right. Will Gills. He said, and he cried with a strong voice saying, Babylon the Great has fallen. Its fall has become the habitation of devils. You know, the funny thing, man, you know who is going in? Let me continue. And the hold of every foul spirit in the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The only thing, back in the day, I used to watch that movie Beastmaster. I must have been like 7, 8 years old, and you see the little winged bird creatures, and they come through, they cover up the people, and then they devour them. And then the next thing that's left is just their bones and a little bit of slime and things of that nature. Now I realize that they truly were telling on themselves. But that scene was always, to me, a tie-in to what you see in Revelations, a tie-in to what we are reading that ties into Jeremiah 50 and 51, a tie-in to Babylon. This is it's unclean. And yes, it's a habitation of vampires. And you know, man, I gotta find that video. I have to find that video. When these white folks were going in on TikTok, and there is just one comment. I don't know if it's Cindy's Villa or Esther. I can't pronounce her name, Necromunda or something like that, or Belinda Stranad. It's one of those videos. I know y'all see more videos than me. But this Caucasian person, they were going in. And they were really breaking this down. They were really breaking this down. And they said, you know what? In the Native American culture, they said the moment that you start eating human flesh, you actually become a monster. You become a monster. They call it a wendigo, a wendigo. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. I don't know that much about Native American culture. So for all my black folks that claim that they're indigenous Native Americans, you can educate me. Just when you educate me, I want to see what roles that you belong to. Let me see what Indian and tribal affairs. Well, supposedly my grandmother, my great grandmother. That's another story. Because I was on the phone last night. I said just wait. I said just wait. We're here at a time. They're still in shock. Thank you, brother Tyrus. It's called Wetico or Wendigo, Wetico. I don't know, something like that. We're in the ballpark. But I had stated this on this channel that we live in a death culture. They're just not wanting to tell you it's a death culture. And now all of a sudden, I'm not here to get the last laugh. Oh, look, we told you so. I'm not here for that. I'm here to warn people that it's about to get dangerous. And let me tell you, now you understand why being disappeared is something where they may not find not hide nor hair of you. Because them silver kitchens, them stainless steel kitchens, them incinerators that they have in their little bunkers, them industrial strength showers and acids. They know how to do the trick to get rid of bodies. Even after they digest you. I'm just saying, don't hate the messenger. The only trace that you may have is through some sort of a burp on the other ends of Charmin. I'm just saying. Forgive me, family. Forgive me, family. I can take this ignorance just a little too far. Most High's been working on me with that. That's what I'm saying. They do it from the rooter to the tutor. Oh, I'm never gonna look at chitlins again. Again. Plus Huggies. Nah, ain't no Huggies. Maybe adult depends. Oh my goodness. See, the reason I say, and I've been talking about all of this, I am the most concerned because I understand where this is all going and where this is all heading. I understand not just the intent, but the actual impact. There's an impact to this. You know, the funny thing is, I tell you all, like, hey, this is what's gonna end up happening. This is why it's gonna end up happening. Well, that's what reptilians do, Tyrus. Tyrus stated. That's cold blooded if you really think about it. No more traces of you and the earth because you were eaten. He said, G Lee, shake my head. They be looking like them Night Stalkers. What was that? What was that old Stephen King movie where they're the shapeshifters and they were ancient? I forgot what it was. Only reason I remember that is because the actor's face didn't even look like he had a correct face anyway. Maybe it was just the makeup. I don't know. Skinwalkers, or yeah, sleepwalkers. That was it. It was sleepwalkers. Yep. Yesterday I was watching. I like to. There are a couple YouTube folks I like to watch. The Duran, Alex Mercouris. He's on the Duran. Um, you have Colonel McGregor, Danny Hyphen. He does some. He does a lot of the panels. But I also like to watch Professor Morandi. He's a Iranian commentator, and I do take that with a grain of salt. Reason being is because, just to be quite honest, if you don't know how things actually work, especially when you have these folks that are quote unquote not attached, but they are attached, right, to these regimes, right? They get their script. They're allowed to talk because they are an informal. That's what it is. It's called being an informal mouthpiece. You have on these platforms, you get all these things to rate you up because you become an informal mouthpiece to these governments that pay them, that sponsor them, that provide for them. I could be an informal mouthpiece. You know, my setup would be a lot different. You'd see my face and I'd be saying some real whacked out stuff. Oh, but when we come back, America's going to be greater than ever. America's God's kingdom. I got my little MAGA hat if you want to do this. I got my little USA shirt. You can have your quarter zip USA also. We just need to get over the PDFO nonsense. Look at YouTube. Bolster my content already. Oh, yeah, that's what we like. Uh-huh. Sell out Jesse Jackson Jr. Next Jesse Jackson. Oh, I had a dream. That one day we may partake on the plate of That strange rack of ribs. I have a drink. No, no, no. I thought you said that this was beef ribs. Something that's not right. Something's not right here. How come it tastes like chicken? we, we trying to suck that thing between your teeth. What is this? Ugh. It's an exotic meat I picked up. What? Now you know. Well, don't eat over at their homes. Now you know. Oh, if you may partake in some dishes, oh, it's a great casserole. Try it. Is this deer? Yeah, something like that. We had to catch it fresh. How did you catch it? With a little bit of propofol and a little cloth. And, huh? They didn't say a word. They talk? I got two rules. My meat cannot be talking to me before they pass. You know what I'm saying? They can only moo or bleat or cluck, nothing else. If they are talking to me in complete sentences, I ain't eating it. I'm sorry, I'm not. Oh, Father, help me. How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? Shh, be quiet. You're gonna be a very good hamburger. Yum yum yum. Mm. Be pointing out to the person. Look, I'm gonna have that. That's gonna be a nice pot roast right there. No, the thigh, the marbling will be great. Yum 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 yum. That's dastardly. Easter is gonna be real different this year. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They all be having tattoos, don't they? Oh my goodness. Can you at least take off the skin next time? Oh, oh, oh. All right, going back to this. I gotta finish this up. Oh, going back to this. So I was listening to Professor Morandi on Danny Haifeng's channel yesterday. Um, he was basically saying everything that I was saying in terms of the moral high ground, which is what this premise will be, and not just defending themselves, right? But in the manner in which they will defend themselves. And the manner in which they will defend themselves is going to be on the premise that Hey, listen, this is the great Satan. We've been telling you that this is the great Satan, and now, excuse me, and now we got to take him out. And if you aren't going to take them out, then by the laws of man, this is literally natural or Noahide law, like literally law after Noah, which is what we had derived. That was the law that came down through Shem, through what? Abraham, through Isaac, and then the covenant came through us, through who? Through Israel, Yasharel, Jacob. So when we give our authority as the lawgivers, which is Judah, then they're able to try to circumvent with unauthorized power through us. And now they don't have that power anymore because why? Because we said, no, we're not doing it. Now all of their stuff is unraveling. And it had been unraveling because, to be quite honest, that connection came around 2015, 2016, when a lot of us started to wake up. And now this unraveling isn't just here in the United States, it's now everywhere. And again, as I had stated this, the world is now in shock because they truly cannot believe and understand that all of their leaders have been in this enterprise of wickedness. Every single one of them. And now the reality is this. Again, if you do not talk or try to explain or then literally denounce the wickedness and your mouth is shut mouth is compliance. Compliance means you're going to be judged. If you are not speaking up against this, if you're not speaking up and out against this wickedness, you're going to be judged. That's not my word. That's literally the Most High's word. That's literally what we saw in Leviticus chapter 20. Because why? Because this is Molech. This is that spirit. This is that demon. This is that principality. It's just telling you the principality that was happening in the dark is now being shown, and now they cannot hide. And this is why Babylon was always a habitation of all this demonic stuff. And now, with this demonic stuff being exposed, now you have a lot of dramatic changes happening. The schism between the Sunnis and the Shia, all of a sudden that got resolved. Do you all know that they literally have as a prophecy in their Islamic faith that the moment that they're able to have things resolved, they know that they are going to be fighting in a great battle. And then that's when their imam occurs. Their great imam, their 12th imam, whatever, however that is. Because now they are now fighting the forces of evil. Because again, here's the reality of this. If they don't fight the forces of evil, you got to understand this about Islam. Just like with Christianity, don't get it twisted. Islam is a copy and paste, but they copied and pasted some of the most important parts. Not all of it, some of the most important parts. Just like with Christianity, they copied and pasted some of the most important parts, but not all of it. So now they have literally an edict to follow. This is why I tell people, I'm like, hey, don't quote me on dates. Don't do that. I said, but understand we don't have long. Because why? Because the face that America was trying to hide has now been exposed, and now everybody's coming. Obadiah, anyone? What they're not understanding is this: when they fight, guess what? We're coming out of our captivity worldwide. Who are these that we've always held in derision? Oh boy. This is going to be a long winded, exhaustive battle. But during that time, we'll have a chance to escape. There'll be ebbs and flows in warfare. There'll be ebbs and flows and when to leave and when to hunker down. The Most High is literally causing our enemies to fight one another. And here we are at this time as a generation that was literally meant to pacify us for at least a couple generations. That generation is now dying out. And that's truly the Most High Spirit working throughout all of the earth. Understand, we have our people over on the continent. They're seeing this every day. And guess what they have to do? They now have to rectify this, which is a great thing. Let me get up on out of here. So, all I can say, family, as I'm getting ready to depart, make sure that your heart is right. Make sure you know who you are following. And make sure to follow and stay on Yahushua HaMashiach. That's it. In this time of darkness, we are a light to these nations. Real simple. So, with that being said, family, Most High willing, I'll be back on here tomorrow. And with that said, be safe, be attentive, be aware, because this system is breaking. But guess what? As the system's breaking, another system is being built. And that's the Most High's kingdom. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, let me get up on out of here. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and peace and blessings. Yasharel.